Right, so I'm going to start this here at lap 170. It's a 6-hour Conspit race here at Nürburgring GP in the LMP2. This was split 3, I think a 2.5k split. Now at one point in this race we're down in 8th. We're not really anywhere to be seen, but we're doing okay. But at this point we're in P2. Directly in front of us is P1. In front of him is a back marker in P6. He doesn't seem to want to get out of the way, but he has a bit of pace, so it seems okay. But this, through great pit strategy with my teammate Joe, and just averaging a good pace, we certainly weren't the quickest car. There was cars getting into the 45s, you know, mid-race. We were averaging 147s, getting into the 46 on a clear lap. But we're starting here, we're on lap 170, like I say, in P2, and we're fighting for the win. And it's like one of the best races I think I've been involved in. It was just so good from starting P6, a couple of incidents with Joe in the first stint, a little spin, a little touch with a GT3, but no real damage. We went from P6 up to P2, dropped back down at one point we're P8, maybe 50 seconds or so behind the leader. But like I say, some great racing, great pit strategy. We didn't think we did anything special, but we seemed to be going 1 or 2 laps longer than everybody else, and it just wasn't adding up how we were going out a little bit further with fuel. But my god, did it make us claw back some time. Those 2 extra laps on warm tyres, we were gaining chunks of time in those 2 laps. So from here, this will be what, lap 171 now, I think, and I'm just going to leave it here for a bit. We could just sit and watch and do a little bit of evaluating of how we're going to catch and try and overtake P1 here. So like I say, we're in P2, and we're thinking all the time here, when you're in this position and you want to fight for the win, sometimes it's pretty good just to sit back, follow them for a lap or 2. There's plenty of laps left in this race, but just evaluate their lines, where they break in, how they do things, and then just try and come up with a way of how can we get past this guy, how can we safely get past him and try and move forwards and get the win for this race. But it was such a belter, such a cracking race. So a couple of back markers just in and about us here. Just got to get safely past these guys. That guy gives up and leaves us the room just to... or maybe he doesn't. So here, I can't remember what he is now. He's P11. And yeah, just spinning, getting in my way. But he's out the road again. Now there's a gap built back up there. P1's pulled away a little bit. And the gap's around 1.1 seconds. And even P6 here, he had good pace. And the leader's in his slip, so a bit of a challenge on again. Get the hammer down, concentrate hard, just try and bring that gap back down. Now there had been messages to the car in P6. I'm assuming P1 would have messaged them as well. We also sent them a message. Joe sent the message, I'm driving at this point, just asking if P1 gets by, if you let them by, can you safely let us by too? And then we can just carry on our race and take it from there. But we never got a message back, and it kind of fell on deaf ears, so he just seems to hang around in the way. We take a little cheeky 1x there just to get around the GT3 safely, just give him plenty of room. P1 seems to be struggling here with his tyres, a couple of corners there. I think he ended up getting 2x's and a 1x and 2 corners there. But this corner here, we could just give him a slight tap. That was a 0x, but no damage to anyone. That left-hander there, place I recognised that I was much faster than him through there. I was braking later, carrying more speed, getting back on the power. He was taking a slightly wider line for the next part of the corner for the right-hander and getting a slightly better exit, but the amount of time I gained doing what I was doing previously, it was worth carrying on that line. So we get past a GT3 there at the Schumacher S's. Here was another place as well. When I got this right, I seemed to catch up as well. always just seem to get a slightly better run. I think a couple of these cars here were running a bit less wing than we were, because even in the slip we weren't gaining quite as much as when other cars were in our slip gaining on us. Now this is my tactics now. I'm not going for any moves. I want to just keep checking where he's braking and the lines he's taking. Constantly just sticking my nose in his mirror. Not right beside him, not up to his 3/4, just pulling out and just putting him off a little bit, making him look more in the mirrors than focused on the track ahead. Turn 1 was definitely a weak point for him. He was braking a good 20-30 meters before I was, and I knew I could brake that little bit later if I was going for a move and still make the apex without running wide. So as we're driving, we're constantly thinking about these little things. Where can we make a move? What can we do to just distract him a little bit? We don't want him to go off and crash, but we just want him to make that little mistake that we can pounce on. But at the moment, he's still driving very well. Still pulls away a little bit at certain places. Then, like I said, this left-hander here, I seem to just coil a little bit back. Definitely closer here than we were going into that left-hander. But his line does give him a better top speed at the end of here, but like I say, I'm sure it's the line that I was taking felt like at the time it was worth it. I think we get held up with this GT3 ever so slightly. We could have maybe gone around the outside and gone for a lunge, but we're still in this race. We're P2, P1's just there. No need to do anything silly, just back off, let that gap open up to the GT3 and off we go again. This also gives me another lap or so just to, again, evaluate his lines, his braking points, and see where they are weaker compared to where I am. Patience. Patience is key sometimes with these races. Small mistake by me there, pushing too much, took that corner a little bit too narrow. It's stuff like this, a GT passes us on the straight, that's putting him off going into the braking zone into turn 1. Swings and roundabouts in multi-class races. We lost a couple of attempts to the GT3 in the Schumacher S's. He's just lost a couple to a GTP in turn 1. A little bit wide from us there. But at this point as well in the race, I felt like I'd been pushing for ages just to keep up and just stay within those temps. That the front tyres were taking a little bit of a toll, especially after we pass him. That's when I was like a little bit more settled, because we weren't pushing as much to keep his pace or just generally be right behind him to distract him. And you kind of let yourself just relax a little bit more, and I was like, oh, I think I pushed these tyres a bit hard in this stint. Also, who doesn't love the rev limiter in an LMP2? This. We're not going to go for the lunge, just enough to get in his mirrors, fill it up, put him off, and that's it. One little mistake in this final corner, because he thought I was going to lunge, he changed direction, he's looking in his mirrors, gives us more of a run into turn 1. What we've been evaluating for the last few laps, I can brake later in turn 1 and still hard make the apex. Beautiful overtaking manoeuvre. You know, plenty of space and a lot of respect given to each other there. He was on my right hand side coming into this, but having the inside line, that's us through. And this is where I start realising, and like, all these front tyres are a bit warm. And we spend a couple of laps just trying to rein it in, bring the tyres back in, and we're hitting a couple of laps time anyway. But yeah, what a brilliant race this 6-hour Conspit was. And from here, we go and win by 11 seconds. Now starting P6, dropping down to about P8, 50 seconds behind the leader. Like I said, some good clean driving, just averaging a good pace. We weren't the quickest by far, but we kept ourselves out of trouble, kept the car clean, And come the end of the race, we got the award. Me and Joe, P1. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.